Go live.
It was live.
We are live. So today,
Finally.
Brian's laughing because the energy is off. It has been a day. So
For her,
Brian
not me.
is.
I'm
My
feeling good.
energy is off. His energy is perfectly fine.
I'm
So
good.
we're talking about marketing and stop being random. So my partner is taking the lead, and I'm going to be, yeah, say so. If for the people go to Black Church.
You could be, you could be my sign language interpreter. Like, you know how they have sign language people for everything now on the TV and stuff. You sign language for me. Yeah, I'll talk about it because here's the thing. Okay, what's the first thing when you talk about being a nonprofit, and and generally, I mean, I'll say smaller nonprofits. I mean, what was your budget at your club when you were at your club?
My budget when I left was like 2.5.
2.5, so 2.5. That's where I was when I left. But when I started, I was 200,000.
Oh, you're really good. I was 750, and I talked to Freddie from Boys and Girls Club of Far. You remember Freddie?
Yeah, I know.
Freddie was 250,000.
Yeah. So we're talking generally small, and one of the things that when you're a smaller club, you're more interested in getting donors. You're more interested in raising money. You're more interested in keeping the lights on. Marketing is something that often gets overlooked. But then along comes social media, Facebook. By the way, when I talk about this, I'm not going to talk much about Twitter, only because I think, and I'm not going to call it formerly X, whatever, you know what I'm talking about. But when you do Twitter, to me, is the goal of Twitter is just to be negative and be mean. And I think it invites venom. And so I would never encourage a nonprofit to advertise.
I will say these opinions reflected in these statements are the opinions of Brian Partee.
That's correct. I will still say that's why I don't talk. Well, I mean, here's the thing, and I'll say about Twitter. You could have the greatest celebrity. You could have Sabrina, and she shows up, and she's wearing her glasses, and she's looking all nice and ready to go, and all, and delivers a great message and stuff. And the first thing somebody's going to say is, "Those glasses are too big for your head," or whatever. You know what I mean? That's Twitter. That's why I don't like it. I think it's more Instagram and Facebook. But there's a lot of different mediums, and a lot of different mediums, by the way, have different intentions. Yes. So all that to say is the word of the day, I think, needs to be intentionality. Yes. You need to know. Here's what you need to know, and that's one of the things we'll cover is what is important. What's Facebook important for? What's Instagram important for? What's LinkedIn important for? And God forbid if you were to do it, what is Twitter good for? You know what I mean?
Or TikTok too.
That's the first thing on being intentional. Second thing is, when are you posting? What are you posting? Those make a difference because, and I'll use, again, you guys have all heard, Sabrina and I both, like I said, have done plenty of years, plenty of time at Boys and Girls Club. So it's in our nature to, there's our kid going down the slide. Let's get a picture of him. And here's a kid studying. And here's a couple kids, doing art. And we just take them and post them and take them and post them and take them and post them. But what that does when you don't have an intentional plan, when you don't do it at a certain time, when you don't create that, you break the algorithm. I did a whole class. I got some sort of certification on doing nonprofit marketing, and it'll wreck the algorithm. So your intention would be to have more people see it, when in reality, less people see it. So one of the things that we can do that between Sabrina and I and through the Thriving Nonprofit
Summit, Julia Campbell is actually going to be the speaker focused on that online
marketing and then the online marketing. So be there for that. Be there for that session for Julia, because I've heard Julia a couple times, and she's on top of it. She knows what she's talking about in those areas, and she can really give you a good point. But it's important that you understand that, because if I'm just going to post and I'm just going to post and I'm just going to post, nobody's going to see your post. Here's the other thing about intentionality. So we talked about real fast, and again, this is the 5-second overview. We talked about intentionality of the time you do it. We talked about intentionality of the message you're sending. We're talking about the intentionality of the message you're sending for the different platforms and what those different platforms are good for and who they reach. The other thing is you got to be intentional with we talked at the very beginning of this of, again, Sabrina and I starting off in Boys and Girls Club having very small budgets and stuff like that compared to where we ended up. Marketing was not always a big thing that we were able to have. It wasn't something we were able to spend money on a lot of times.
Right.
So, but let's be intentional. One thing you probably want to do, spend some money on those social media ads. Get those. You can target people. You can target other nonprofits. You can target donors. You can target men ages 35 to 50. You can do, if you're doing an event with women, a handbag thing. There's a lot of those power of the purse kind of thing.
Yes, I love those.
Yes, you obviously want to target women. That kind of thing. It gives you the flexibility to make sure you know what you're doing, because if you just go do stuff willy-nilly, you're not intentionally hurting your nonprofit, but you are hurting that message that people aren't going to see. The only people who are going to see it are your regular people, the people who subscribe to you. Nobody will get anything new about you. Nobody will find out anymore. Nobody will find out the great things you're doing. So you can really, it allows you to get your message out and take your time to plan those things. I will throw in one other little thing. I don't know if any of you guys have ever heard of a program called Loomly, Loomly.
I have.
Loomly.
Yeah.
Loomly is a great program because what it does is it allows you to schedule your posts on every platform you're on at different times throughout the day. You can say, I want to post this, and then you go here and you say, Twitter, I want it to go on at, remember, we're not doing Twitter though. Facebook, I want it to go on at 7 p.m. and Instagram, I want it to go on 10 p.m. And they look at their algorithms too to say, if you're in Atlanta, Georgia, more people are online from 7 to 8 p.m. on Thursdays, whatever. Mm-hmm. So you get those high level times, but you've got to be it's got to be done. Because again, so many nonprofits fall into the trap, and I call it a trap, because it's easy. I'm going to, like we said at the beginning, I'm going to go out and I'm a Boys and Girls. I'm running a pet shelter. Oh, there's a cute dog. Great. Let's post it.
Right.
There's a cute cat. Post it. There's some, there's a cute. That's what you're, and what it does is it's not getting you anywhere. You're putting in time, well, you're good for being tired. That was the best insert of a comment.
It's not. Well, one of the things that I don't like, and maybe because of the background in your training, I get even a little bit more granular and basic when I talk about social media and marketing. Mm-hmm. I've come across a lot of organizations who only post when they have a fundraising event going on.
Right.
They don't engage people in any way. And then they get upset because, well, I put it on social media, but no one gave.
And that goes back to what we said, a while ago about intentionality. I put it on social media at 4 p.m. on a Thursday. Well, that might not be the time in your neck of the woods, wherever you live, that's a big deal. And hey, can I throw in another thing? This is a minor pet peeve, but I want to throw this in while we're talking about it. For everybody who does those, it's my birthday things. Do you guys realize the percentage that like the social media, the Facebook Meta takes out of it? Off of a $500, let's say you get up to $500, you take like $100. That's a 20% markup. That's ridiculous. You're better off spending that money, asking for some money directly to your donors. Say, hey, it's my birthday, donate to me. Send them a message directly and say, here's our link to our page, not going through
Facebook,
Meta, not going through Twitter.
Meta, yeah.
Those, and again, those get so lost they can just get lost. It's such a mush up. And again, I'm gonna take another small tangent, because I'm good at tangents. Mm-hmm. But that's the same thing. I've never been a big fan of Kelly Stewart is going to be one of our speakers. She's a big fan of Giving Tuesday.
I've never been a fan either.
Yeah, it's because everybody's doing it now. When
everybody's doing it, and
I mean, even here's what and this is what I always tell everybody why I don't like it. It's because your mission of whatever your mission is, saving animals, Boys and Girls Club, helping children, feeding the homeless, whatever your mission is getting mixed in. And there's people there who go, and my wife and I never got the honeymoon we deserve. And they just put it up there to give us some money. You know what I mean? They're just trying to get somebody to go, oh yeah, that's great. I want you to have a happy honeymoon. Not a nonprofit, not anything. It's not, you know, and I hope they have a happy wedding, but it's not my responsibility to pay for them, especially when you've got a mission of somebody who's feeding homeless people out there. And those homeless people probably need a whole lot more than your honeymoon. You know what I mean? So never been a big fan of it. It's so watered down, and there's so many fee-based organizations. Oh, my kid is doing Little League. Okay. Doesn't the Little League charge a fee? What? Ask them for a scholar. You know what I mean? Again, and I'm not trying to be a jerk about it, but I'm trying to say that if you're going to get yourself seen, also think about where you're going. I mean, I've never been a big GoFundMe person because it's like, oh, I can get it and I can get 5 million people to give me a nickel. No, you're not going to get 5 million people to give you a nickel. It's not going to, you know, it doesn't happen. So again, I guess we'll go back to, I know I've gone a bunch of different ways because I'm really good at that, but it's intentional. You've got to really think about these things that you're going to do and how you're going to do them. It's not just as easy as, again, taking a picture of the kid going down the slide and I'm posting it. Yay, I'm on social media. No, you're not. You're not. You've got to do it regularly. You got to have a plan. You got to know who you're targeting. You got to know who your audience is. You got to know when's the best time to do it. And that's how you get your nonprofit to thrive through a social media, intentional social media program.
It's about the strategy and the intentionality. And often I remember when this is how old I am. I remember when Facebook first came out and my board member was like, we just got to get on Facebook. And that was one of my goals as a CEO, to grow the Facebook.
Right. And don't get me wrong. That's speaking more intentionality. It's important. You should build into your calendar every month, twice a week, or whatever your timeline is, to go out, have your board members invite people to like your page, because the more people that like the page, more people get the message. The other thing is side note, the more people you have that follow you or like your page, that's more people that when you do a golf tournament and say, hey, we'll do a shout out for you. Well, what's better? If you're doing a shout out on my social media and I have 500 people following me, or I have 50,000 people following me, you know, that kind of thing. Well, if I'm an advertiser, if I'm doing Brian's Donuts and I want everybody to come to my donut shop, I'd much rather have 50,000 people see it. So intentionally building up those numbers on your social media following is really important. And you've got to take the time to go out and, again, whether it's you're doing it as the CEO, whether you have a marketing person that goes out and every once in a while says, hey, join our page, whether it's getting your board members to go, hey, this month I'd like you to each call 5 of your friends that are on social media. If they haven't liked our page, just like the page. Just say, hey, I'm on the board of the whatever, and our page is this. Join us. That's kind of you've got to do these things because, again, it's just marketing. I'm just going to take a picture. No,
you got to be more intentional around that. So
your results will be much better.
I know that another thing that comes up is people talk about, you kind of started out with this and alluded to this, like, well, which platform do I use? And again, it's intentionality. You got to search where your clients.
Yes.
And in certain ways, like people, like for me, when I first started out in this journey, not the nonprofit journey, but at the business side of the journey, I felt comfortable on Facebook. So I went all in on Facebook, but then I realized maybe my ideal person or client is not on Facebook. So you have to think about what your mission is and decide where.
And who you want to reach.
Right.
I mean, obviously you always want to, one thing that I learned when I did that class, you always want to do Facebook, only because it's so large. I mean, it's like you can fit 700 Twitters into one Facebook kind of thing. It's so much larger than everything else. So in that regard, it's important. When you want to try to look professional and explain stuff and show that you have knowledge, it's probably a LinkedIn thing. And then when you have those pictures of the kids on the slide or your dog that you're saving from the animal shelter or any of those, that's an Instagram thing, because Instagram is very, very visual. I will be the first to tell you, I don't know a ton about TikTok. I don't do a lot of TikTok.
I go on TikTok just to be entertained. But I know that TikTok has a lot of growth on there. Now, who's on there? Yeah, I can't begin.
Are the people on TikTok? I mean, there's all sorts of people on TikTok. But my guess is the largest group would probably be 16 to 25. Probably not necessarily a donor yet, not into that stage of their life where they could be a big donor. And again, part of this is trying to get the word out, and hey, we're here, and if you need a donation, we can be that spot for you, those kind of things. So that's, again, you just got to figure out what you want. But there's so many more components of what you want, and I think Jess will hit that pretty well to explain. It's not just throw it up and see what sticks. Just throwing it up and see what sticks is not a good strategy.
So I know yeah, I kind of got some things in there pepped up a little bit, but I guess at the end of the day, one of the things that I remember in our journey is people being told to stop being the best kept secret.
Yes.
And that's kind of what this conference is based on, to get you and to equip you with some marketing skills that helps you stop being the best kept secret.
Right. I would agree.
And that is the goal, because marketing leads directly into fundraising. People give to who they know, who they trust.
Trust, exactly.
And so you have to stop being the best kept secret. And you also have to stop being random when you do things. We're all working on like a short shoestring budget. So when you do invest, you want to be intentional and strategic and know you're going to get a return on the investment.
Exactly. That's all there is to it. Because if you're on a shoestring budget, if you're, kind of broke, lower, where you have priorities and you have to cut your marketing. I don't say cut your marketing. You make sure you know what your marketing is going to be. Make sure you make your marketing the most effective. And by doing that, like I said, our word for the day was brought to you by the letter I, Sesame Street. Well, brought to you by the letter I for intentional. If you have that intentionality, if you have that plan, your return on investment, I think, would go a whole lot farther.
Yeah. So with that, my friend, we did all of that. And let me say this, Brian Partee, I am so off my game today. So off the game that I never hit share on the Facebook. So off my game, dude. But I thank you for supporting me in my low energy day and in my low energy time. Y'all, it's hard out here. You think that you get low energy when you're running a nonprofit and you feel alone. It's the same on this side of the street too sometimes.
Happens all the time. So go home, get plenty of sleep.
Right. And it's great to have people that would support you during these times and hold you accountable and say, we got to do this. This is what we said was going to do. And we're doing it, right?
Well, hey, just because of your little comment there, I will tell you, I have already put all of them into Google Calendar. So I'm set for the next 2 for sure.
Perfect. So we will see y'all. But the whole goal is make sure you register for the summit. We're talking about the 3 things that got Brian and I to where we are in our organization, multi-million-dollar organizations, starting out with 250, 200,000, 750,000, moving it up to $2.5 million budgets. And I will say in 3 categories, that is fundraising, marketing, and board. And that's what we're going to be sharing at the summit. So thank you, Brian.
Have a good nap.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah.